Thank you. Hi, Stanton.
Hi.
How are you? I'm wondering about if you've done any research on the Billy Meyer case.
Yes, I have.
And what your thoughts are on that?
Well, I haven't been able to validate that he is who he says he is. I mean, you know, that Billy is in contact with aliens and he leads a whole group of people and all that. That much is true. But and as a matter of fact, I did a long debate with Michael Horn, who's his American representative.
Yes.
And I'm still not satisfied that it's legitimate.
Okay.
I'm not saying there is a guy named Billy Meyer. There is a real person. I don't mean that.
Here's why I ask him about Flat Earth.
Yeah.
But,
Well, does that answer your question, Wolfman, or did you have anything else?
I've got another question for him. I was wondering if there is any experimental military base around the Lake Erie area, because I've seen a lot of things out there.
Yes.
Hang on, we're getting to the Flat Earth one from Stanton Friedman here. I just thought I'd play this.
I'm sorry, I'll let you.
This is the call,
I don't know.
Walt. This is the call.
Around there. There are loads of military bases around.
And then you call
Okay,
him
nothing
afterwards.
that you know of. And
No,
what would
not
you?
offhand.
Okay, what would you have to say to all these people that believe? If you had something you could say to these people that believe in flat Earth, I was wondering what would you say to them?
Oh, no. Here we go.
I would say I've done a lot of looking in recent months, and I'm satisfied that the Earth, like all the other planets, is round, and like the sun is round, and the notion that the sun is and the moon are the same size and only a few thousand miles away doesn't fit anything we know about. You know, there's a lot of infrared, ultraviolet, etc., coming from the sun. We have signals that we can reflect radar from the bodies in the solar system and stuff. And I was surprised when I started digging. You know, even in Columbus's time, everybody knew the Earth was round. There were religious arguments that got brought up about that, but I'm satisfied that the Earth is round, it's big, you know, in comparison to the distance between my house and my neighbor's house kind of thing. But I couldn't find any evidence to support it. I can see where people would raise the questions. And if you're out on the ocean, you look out, well, it looks flat to me. That's good enough, isn't it? Well, look at the scale.
You know, let me jump in, right?
The Earth isn't 500 miles in diameter. It's 8,000 miles in diameter. Mm-hmm. And we can navigate all kinds of crazy systems. I mean, they've also said, and I guess I resent something else, one of the people who wrote a foreword for my book was Dr. Edgar Mitchell, my book, Flying Saucers in Science. And I met the man, and I have a great deal of respect for him, an astronaut, sixth man to walk on the moon. Well, basically, the flat earthers are saying all these space programs, man going out there, are baloney. Didn't happen.
Yeah,
well,
they are.
I don't think all these guys are lying. And I resent the fact, as a matter of fact, I've met several astronauts, and it's not going to have a big booster of NASA. As I've said to people, when I was in the space program back in the 60s, I thought we'd have a base on the moon by the end of the century, last century, and that we'd have gone off to Mars already. So I am not impressed with NASA's leadership. They need somebody like Admiral Rickover, who built the nuclear navy, despite opposition to him. So I appreciate the fact that it takes drive and leadership and so forth. And I'm disappointed. Why didn't we go to the moon again after Apollo 17?
I would love to
and stuff like that.
Well, I heard that they were scared away.
Well, sure. The easy answer is the aliens told us, stay the heck off our moon, buddy.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on, but maybe more than most, I appreciate the fact that governments can keep secrets. I helped keep some when I was working on with their airplanes and stuff like that. And I wrote a report. I did a study
programming going on right there.
Title: Analysis and Evaluation of Fast and Intermediate Reactors for Space Vehicle Applications. One word was left out of the title: Soviet. I was looking only at the Soviet technology.
Boy,
and
he
the question
goes
was,
on.
could they build nuclear reactors to put them
There
in
is
space?
no shortage of
And I
verbiage.
probably was the only
Stanton's around.
person in the United
My
States
God,
at the time.
eh?
I'm living in Canada now, but who was pleased when Cosmos 954 came down, because I had predicted.
You should be in a room
that,
with
they
him.
were doing all the right things.
Jeez.
They published all the
Right now,
right
talking
papers.
to
If
He's
you
not
look at
even
the
talking
that
about
showed
flat
they were
Earth
building
anymore.
I know, he just knows.
nuclear
Yep.
power plants for use in space.
When
And
I
that had
come
one on it, and it
this
turns
is-
out they've launched 33 or so. The United States has launched one.
No, Canada or anywhere else.
But I don't even have a copy of my final report.
Well,
sure
I
what-
appreciate Wolfman's call and his question.
That's it.
Nice.
yeah.
But
First
then
of
you
all-
call in later. I'll have that one.
Yeah, man, I want to get a copy of that from you. It's not the one I remembered, actually. The other one was when I thought you had called in on that Dark 30 radio. One of those. You sent me the link one night and we both called in.
Yeah, this is the episode.
Well, no, but we've
Pretty
done that a
sure.
couple of times. Yeah, I think
Okay,
we've done that a
well,
couple
maybe.
times.
I thought it was
Gang-
Stanton Friedman that we picked on. So it could be.
It surely is. I know we both have gotten a few times. So, but man, I mean, just what the moon thing. Why didn't we go back? Not just why didn't we go back? Why is it there's some kind of advertisement beaming down at us from the moon? Because we all know there's going to be frickin' made. They're going to be all Jack.
Here's all you need to know right here. NASA in 1992, they made a public statement and they said that, hey, by the way, we just found out about the fucking what's it called, the radioactive ring around our what's it called?
Allen Belt?
Oh, the Van Allen belt?
Yeah, the Van
Oh,
Allen.
yeah.
Right. So 1992. they
Oh, I know
say,
what you're talking about. Yeah,
By
yeah.
the way, we found out that the Van Allen belt is impassable, and we predict that within 10 to 20 years, we might be able to figure out how to get humans past the Van Allen belt. Well, wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, we did it.
Right there. We're supposed to have gone to the moon, which is on the other side of that belt, 20 fucking years before this statement. What the fuck are you saying? It can't be both.
More people don't believe in the moon landings than actually believe it. I might be.
At this point, I think you're right, sir.
The moon landings are fucked. There's no fucking way that they went there with that technology. And that's the only technology. Let's go back to the 60s and the 70s if you want to really grant it some grace. The 70s, right? Any other form of technology, TVs, phones, computers, video games, anything has greatly expanded and has evolved since then. The only form of technology of all time ever that has never evolved is the technology that apparently, supposedly, took us to the moon in the late 60s. Really? We haven't invented better rockets since 1960-fucking-8? We haven't invented better computers since 1960-fucking-8? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, what? Just fuck. That's my main thing I want to say is fuck.
Well, yeah, like fuck, man, like fuck.
Fucking A.
And Gigi, I don't know if you noticed, your board notifications are coming through. Your Discord notifications are coming through your board somehow. So can you turn those off if you could?
Are you hearing the little clink noise when I'm muting?
Yeah, that's. I know where it's coming from now.
I'm not getting any. I can close Discord, but I haven't gotten any notifications. But yeah, let me close it. Just in case.
I have mine turned off, but every time it beeps, your icon is lighting up. So something's going on there.
That's because I'm hitting my button to talk.
Oh, okay. And maybe that's going blip, blip, blip. I don't know.
No, it's just
that is my habit from the shows we do all week long. Yeah, with the button ready to go, just to keep external noises off. So if I'm making a bleep noise, I'll try to stop.
I'm not sure. I thought it was Gigi's. Anyways, if we have to listen to it, and if somebody notices it, but I can't stop it. It's coming through somewhere there. So, anyways, that's my disclaimer for the horrible sound.
Yeah. Let's just
no, it's not that. It sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, actually, it does sound pretty good. Yeah.
That's what Darren says. Let's see. I got tons of questions,
Shout out to Darren.
You know, I got tons and tons of questions here that I haven't even got to yet. Okay.
I'm ready for questions.
Okay, all right.
Well, let's...
okay, so what is your idea of the model that you've come up with yet? How does the flat Earth model or do you even have one anymore?
Truly, we've really spent more time we thought might even be close to than we have anything else, both round and flat, because I mean, there's still a huge contingency out there that have to try to fit this all into some kind of void. So then you have the pizza planet people who have the nice little disc, and floating on the turtle's back. No, I'm being silly, but we don't know. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Yes, we are trying to work it out. Yes, we have some amazing minds working. In fact, what is going on right now with Cammy on our show and this whole thing with the moon and the sun and the dipolar magnet fields, and we've had another guy that maybe caught the actual dipolar magnetic ley lines in the sky camera, and just really make us see that not only is it we were told, it could be so far beyond anything we can conceive of. I mean, it could literally be that we're creating this thing by just the second as we are living this world, as we are, as we're interacting with this three-dimensional grid, as we're here, like we're changing the shape of it just by having this conversation. You know what I mean? It's
yes, we are. Now I'm sorry, but what's your name again? Walt,
yeah.
Walt. Okay, because honestly, I think I speak for most of the audience. You've been cutting out a little bit from here and there, but I think we got most of what you're saying.
I have. I didn't know I was having audio problems. Is it me maybe muting too soon? Talking?
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I'm connected to a 400 megabit Ethernet connection, so the possibility of me being the issue is.
Oh yeah, no. It's man. I'm in the country here, so it's very possible.
But
could be your internet, or it could be just your Discord attenuation. If you go to the user settings at the bottom, that little cog, and then you hit voice and video, you're going to see something that has an orange, a bar that's orange and then green.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and if you turn that down so that there's more green, almost all the green is showing.
It's automatically doing it. Take that up on.
Honestly, I think he's
you might.
That was just a random,
Is that better?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, you sound good.
I think that will be better. It says sometimes it cuts the first part of your sentence off or the last part.
Absolutely. Well, I know that even on Skype, we've had to turn off some of the automated crap.
Yeah,
for that very
you got to
reason.
turn the automated shit off. Yep.
Yeah, I turned it off. Okay, cool.
Okay, good. It sounds way
What
better.
about all the noise suppression, etc.? Man, I'm sorry. I hate to do live production. We do it on our show too, so don't worry. It's not.
You know what? It sounds a lot better. I'm glad we figured that out.
Yeah, that
sounds a lot better now.
It's all good, man. Don't even worry about it.
I'm glad you brought it out, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because it was starting to be a little hard on the ears. It's way better now.
And again, my habit is to sit on the mute button. I mean, we do. Okay, so TFR, we do have to watch our language and watch extraneous noises because we're going out over Chris's stuff, and it's a little more, he's got advertisers. They actually pay for ad time and things. So it's just a habit. I stay on that mute button, so I'll try to stop doing that. Like typing and things like that. I'll try not to.
Yeah, that's fine if I hear some typing noises or whatever from the guest. I'm used to that. I try to keep things clean of the other background noises and stuff. So we got it really good this time. So let's stop talking about the sound and go on with the show.
All right. So questions. You had questions.
I've got another one. Okay. So in the one model that you explained to me, how you said that the sun is smaller and it goes above the earth, circulates around. To me, okay, then that would mean that the sun would get smaller in the sky as it moves away and before it goes down the horizon, which does not do, so that model doesn't work for me.
No.
I've actually seen pictures with a very good lens filter for the sun applied, and it does show size difference of the sun as it goes away from us. Now,
yeah, but it seems to get bigger when it goes down, not smaller.
Well, now that's when you start getting into atmoplane and different layering and how there is an actual, like, let me see, how do I explain this? Okay, remember that scene in, what was it, damn it? The Ant movie.
Go ahead.
Not ants, but Flick. And he took the little water droplet and put it in the rolled up leaf and turned it into a telescope. Okay, so imagine that the atmosphere is filled with millions of little tiny droplets of water. It's a bunch of freaking microscopes. Magnifying glasses. So now take that idea and turn it into a completely randomized thing that's affected by temperature, by air pressure, by the proximity to that heating device up there that we call the sun. All those things make it almost impossible, number one, to figure out what the hell it is, to figure out where the hell it is, to actually get any kind of model going, because any video game designer will tell you the ultimate goal with people like Peter Molyneux and all these are to make a world that really works with atmosphere and dust falling in the room and shit like that. That's just not doable in ones and zeros. So,
yes,
we're trying to do it between, like, this guy with he made a model with coat hangers and tinfoil, and she's got a computer graphic, and this person pulled out their miroscope and have a different, we're having to piecemeal this thing together. We can't just sit down and click it into a computer program because, the programs are generally all based on the heliocentric model. So when you put in sun distance, it automatically throws in 93 point whatever million and that kind of thing. So I hear the echo again too. I just noticed. Is it me?
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
I heard some echo too. Yeah.
I thought it was me again.
It's not you.
It's not.
But
yeah, it's okay.
It's to me, just asking these questions, just getting these questions out there, getting people to doubt the authority, to give up nanny government, and to not think just because that fucking dude's got a lab coat on, I have to listen to him. Just that alone would be making all of this worthwhile for me, for us, for what we're doing. Because, that's really, damn it, I'm getting all spun out because there's so many directions here. It's like asking the question, okay, how can this lab even be in place? How can it be all these millions of people involved in this huge lab? Well, it doesn't. It's this guy that's going to work every day at NASA, that's trying to earn his paycheck to feed his family. He's pushing buttons. He's taking the info he got from his boss. The boss got it from his boss. They got it from the textbook that was written by the guy who got that information from the other textbook. It's not like there's a cabal sitting there going, the Earth's flat. We're fucking their heads up. It's just Joe Blow at his buttons trying to make his money. And so he does suddenly figure out that all the shit he's pushing these buttons about is a lie. So what's he going to do? Go to his boss and say, hey, take my money away. Take my life credits completely away from me because I figured out the Earth might be flat. It's not a big, huge, necessarily all-reaching master conspiracy. It just takes a few people to keep it going in place at the top, and the rest is just, that's what I was told.
And what was Elon Musk quoted as saying just a week ago, he would like the average age of the workers at SpaceX to be 20 in their early 20s. What does that tell you? He wants a bunch of he may have been kind of joking when he said it, but
he wants them young and inexperienced and not
impressionable. They're going to work their asses off.
Yeah, so they're going to look up to it. He's got all this money and hoo-ha-ha.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, why? That doesn't even make sense. Why would he want some people with experience? Smart people with experience.
With more experience and years of doing it.
And wisdom.
People.
Well, how about this?
People for that work for him.
It's not going away. People are talking about it's just too in our face now. The more experienced the people are, the more in the know they are, and the less they can be bought, I guess, maybe.
Well, I think you start thinking about what's more important as you get older and realize it's not necessarily the money. It makes things maybe easier and stuff. It really doesn't. It's not the thing that's really important. You can't take it with you. When you're sick in bed and dying, thinking about your money is not a big comfort. But the people around you are. Definitely. So you're able to step outside that money box, that money holding you hostage a little bit more. You realize that you can make it and maybe not be perfect, but life is short, and if you spend your time doing that, and that's where he wants the young ones, the ones that are trying to make something of themselves and think they got to make their mark in the world right now, and that's what they should be doing, but he takes advantage of them.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? What's crazy is the fact that there are people out there that are spending their whole fucking life trying to convince people that there is no land in the North Pole. They're trying to convince people that there's no land beyond the South Pole. That is what's fucking crazy.
Or that it's just simply too dangerous to go to, just like in Truman Show.
Yes.
And they scared him from trying to leave.
Yeah, but it wasn't too dangerous, was it? It wasn't too dangerous. It was just that he didn't know about it. That's
right. Well, think about it this way. A long time ago, when they did say the world was flat, they wouldn't go beyond a certain point because, it was too dangerous. The unknown is always dangerous to human beings, and some people take advantage of others that have never visited, aren't aware of it, aren't actually there. Like, I can describe Hawaii to you. If you've never been there, I can give you an idea, but until you go there, you don't get the perspective. It is the same thing.
Have you ever seen the ancient Japanese map of the Earth?
Oh, yeah.
Back from 1200.
They also have one that was from during the Middle Ages by a guy that was, I believe it was Germany or one of those where he in his map the South Pole was there.
No, I don't. I know what you're talking about, but no, what I'm talking about is there is. So, like I mentioned earlier on the show, Richard Admiral Byrd, right?
Yeah, went to the inner Earth.
Operation. Yeah, there's all that stuff. But in one of his first interviews, before he was, before they told him what to say and not to say, he did this interview before he came back to anybody. That's one of the craziest, that's one of the most beautiful things about that interview. And anybody can look it up. It's from like 1952.
Yeah, it was right before they were going to do he was supposed to go down the street of New York for a parade.
And trust me when I say, none of his superiors would have let him say anything that he said during that interview. He had no idea that he was out of bounds. But what he said was there was a continent south of the south part of Antarctica, meaning not the south side of Antarctica, but a whole nother continent south of Antarctica.
The guy asked him if there's any other lands to explore, and he tells him, hell yeah.
When you look,
there was a big hole that opened up.
Maps, there are maps going back from 1200 AD that depict a continent exactly the size that he describes right on the south side of Antarctica. And when you look back at the history of GPS and all of our navigational bullshit today, it's all the Department of Defense. It's all the Department of Defense, which is all under NATO. It's all In other words, if there's anything that they don't want us to see, then we're not going to see it. It's that simple.
Hello, Mr. Gigi. It's Igor. Igor. Hello, Mr. Gigi.
Eat his ass, Igor.
I might have to electrocute him. Igor. Very many sound problems he is giving me.
Please give me some shredded cheese.
Mr. Gigi. We'll probably give him one more chance because.
Oh, hold on. Let me turn that down.
Electrocute! Thank you, everyone, for letting me electrocute him.
Oh my gosh, yes. What a mess. Yes. Very well done, actually. Great electrocution.
Very nice.
It was excellent electrocution. And we'll be back shortly. We're having a short break here.
Did I forget to mention a thing? She could sing with a fifth dimensional ring in a voice that would sound like angels coming from the sky. She could sing. She could sing. She was a groovy little baby with a fifth dimensional ring in a voice. That's right, all right, dig it, yeah. From the Wolfman, sing it out now, yeah. Here we go. Groovy little baby from the fourth dimension. Did I forget to mention one thing? She could sing. Groovy little baby with a fifth dimensional ring in a voice that is. She could sing like an angel coming from the sky. She could sing. Groovy baby with a fifth dimensional ring in a voice that is, yeah, come from the sky.
You're here with Dave Cruz and Wolfman Mike. And please listen to our new network,
KTLK DB The Fringe.fm.
All right. Everybody come on out and listen. And we're going to have a lot of fun now because we all joining forces. All right. And this is going to be where the disclosure comes from. Yeah. It's where all the freaks hang out.
This is where all the real freaks hang out.
You have nowhere else to vent. You're tall ahead, like a head. You know that they lie to you. Hear the sound, seismic echoes in the ground. Forget your misery, shine a laser across the sea. It's quite clear when you're in the atmosphere. Aliens appear.
The Earth is maybe stranger than any kind of reality that you thought was. The truth is stranger than fiction. Goodbye. I am going back to the dungeon now.
Oh, goodbye, Igor. Hey, I'm back. Well, that was nice. I really enjoyed the electrocution. Sorry, Gigi, I had to electrocute you. Poor guy. Is everybody... Oh, yeah. Are you guys still here?
I'm here.
All right.
So
yeah.
I had a question for Flat Earth Head, if I can throw this out there. It's kind of a curveball considering what we've been.
All right, let's go. I get my catcher's mitt.
I just looked at your timeline on Twitter, and I see you reposted the chimpanzee on Instagram. And I'm just going to throw this out there. Is there any chance there's a fake line of animals out there? Like, I don't buy zebras, okay? I think they're just painted. Just don't buy them.
Dude, what the fuck is a platypus?
What
the fuck is a platypus? Yeah, guy, I'm all about the whole cryptozoology thing.
Yeah, platypus.
Platypuses are like really super old too.
And they got bills on them like a duck, but they're a mammal.
Yeah,
they're like leftovers.
I actually had a pet.
Leftovers and put them together.
Right, exactly. I had a pet. My head just went blank. Just gone. Not raccoon. Possum. And they've got like a hand on their back feet. They have a hand. It's a freaking opposable thumb, just like a monkey, just like we have. It's insane. And then he would hang off my arm by his tail. He was huge. It was crazy.
They look like those radiated rats.
Yes, exactly. That's what I called him when I'd walk around. He was little in my pocket. I called him rat.
Through a cat door while I was house sitting one time, and I don't know why, but it came at me and it jumped at me and hissed. And there was a claw hammer sitting there, and I grabbed the hammer as it came up, and it was like automatic pilot, and I buried the claw hammer in its head.
There you go. They are vicious if they're not yours.
And it ran right out the cat door and never saw it again, never found it in the woods, nothing.
Yeah,
with
they're
a claw
pretty
hammer
rough
in
if
its
you're
head.
not...
Yeah.
If they're not your friend, don't fuck with them for sure. Yeah.
No, I was just sitting there minding my own business, but there was I was eating, and it just came through and just went, freaked me out.
Well, to get back to your question, though, in seriousness, Jewish producer, there's a whole lot of really strange things if you look into the whole idea of the Nephilim, the fallen angels, some of the creatures that have been unearthed in some of the unknown archaeology, things with literal horns and wolf heads, and shout out Wolfman Mike. Just crazy stuff. Yeah. Like I said, I'm Flat Earth's where I'm at now, but I've been all over the map with the other. So if you think about the fact that part of the satanic agenda is to transhumanize us, to completely eliminate our humanity, which, is pretty fucking awesome, I think, humanity. So the whole agenda of transhumanism, bionics, adding chips to our brain to fight the coming AI masters, the cloning idea, the cloning center. You know how long we've been able to clone shit? Way back, so...
Yeah, I think humans are so much less significant than we would like to think, but I do not want to take away from Jupro's answer, so go ahead.
No, I'm not sure what you're saying. I think we're more significantly more significant than we think we are.
Yes.
We're opposing that one, GG. Can I electrocute you?
I think that deserves another zap. Exactly. I mean, I think that's part of what the whole agenda of Ball Earth versus Flat Earth is. If you're clinging to this little cinder that's flying through an infinite void with all kind of cosmic disasters ready to befall you at any minute, including this test that's coming up next week. That's an asteroid impact test being put on by FEMA and NASA. Hello, a drill. When's the last time a drill went live? I don't know, 9/11, Sandy Hook. Pick one. Anyway.
You know what? I think it's really obvious that humans in this planet are obviously the center of attention. I don't care who you talk to, who you ask. We're obviously at the center of it. I don't care what that means, spiritually or physically. It's just if you look at the evidence, this is where all of the focus is attention, is where we are. So obviously we are some sort of significance to somebody, and we're pretty important. But at the same time, I don't know if we're the most important people in the universe. I guess that's what
it's a matter of subjective, I guess. I think. But I agree with you that we are a focus, and it has something to do with, in my mind, something to do with the aliens, creating the space for this planet to accelerate in its evolution, and us too. And we came out much more than what they thought we would. And we're going to make the change. If we're going to get the uptake of it or not, if we're going to change the way we do things, and instead of destroying each other and destroying things, seeing who we really are and remembering who we were. Because
right. Absolutely. Us remembering who we are is a big key to this whole thing, I think.
Yep.
Yes. And, I kind of glanced over it just generally, but I did a huge amount. Well, hell, most of my life I've dug into the whole question of aliens and other beings among our world and how they interact with us in not too pleasant ways sometimes. So that was also a big stumbling block, if you will, for me to dismiss space so easily, or at least the space model that we've been given.
Well, it's funny. When our country started, our founding fathers, most of them believed in the plurality of worlds, meaning that there were other beings on other planets, and we weren't, the only thing, in the whole universe that, was sentient or whatever. And, and I find that it's funny that people now fight it. Oh no, there's no other people but us. It's just, it makes no sense that there we're just a fluke. No,
that's just ludicrous. I mean, that's like way beyond mathematically improbable, right?
Yeah, something possible. Even in the word impossible says I'm possible. It's impossible until it happens. Then it's not.
So I know a lot of you guys are very alien oriented. I've heard a lot of the shows. I know a lot of the talk. I know you guys are big fans of art shows and the newer stuff. So one of those maps I shared with Mike, and there's another map. In fact, it's the one I think that JP was talking about earlier from the Hawaiian newspaper, the Kobayashi map that showed that continent out past the Antarctica ring. Yes. Well, I mean, if you think about those being more advanced continents because they've been here longer in this model, if that makes any sense. Like, again, this is all speculation, but they are the aliens. They are the ones with the advanced technology that are feeding it to our government. They are the ones that are the puppet masters and all this kind of stuff that if you take the aliens and move them to lands beyond the ring, it kind of starts making sense again.
And just like there's different kind of human beings with different perspectives and different ways of living their lives.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with aliens, there's the good guys and there's the bad guys. There's the guys that we don't really care for. But it's funny that you say it's on the south side because Hawaiian Islands, the island of Kauai is the only one that's not made by the current volcanic stuff that's been going on. It's actually an island that sunk. And what you walk on now is actually the tops of the mountain. And it was part of a continent that Mu, or whatever name you, Lemuria,
right,
Mu, whichever
Lemuria.
name you wanted to,
Right.
and that wrapped around there, and that would make sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, there's a big gap
and naval-
between.
actually the naval, considered one of the third eye of the planet.
Right.
Even
Even
in
on the
their word.
ball map, even on the ball globe, there's a huge gap between South America and Australia and all that. There could be a huge island right there that we're not even, even if it was a ball, there could be a huge island right there that we're not informed about.
Yeah.
That could be
We've
their
got a new
hidden
continent
land.
now, so we've got a new continent now over by, in New Zealand. Outside of New Zealand, there's a new continent that just crested the ocean. We now have.
I forgot about that. You're right. That island that they watched happen. I did have that story. We were going to talk about it one morning, and we just had too much other stuff.
Now.
Yes, ma'am. I did see that story where they watched it happen. Form. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So now we're 8 continents instead of 17.
And how big is this continent? I never heard about this.
Yeah, it's on the other side of New Zealand.
No, I said how big is it?
Fairly
Smaller.
large.
Yeah, well, it's smaller than New Zealand, but it's not an island size thing, right?
It's coming up. It just crested the ocean now, so it's all underneath.
I probably still have that in my show folder if I could dig in deep.
So I got a question. Stop time photography of the stars from both poles shows that in this you can see where the North Star is and where the South Star is in the sky. How do you explain that?
Well,
in a
there's
flat
really
Earth?
not an actual southern star per se. There's what they call the southern crux, which is a kind of a blank spot in the sky. You have to have a really powerful scope or binoculars or.
But you know what I mean with the stop time photography
of
the sky, and you can see how all the stars swirl
around.
Right.
The swirls, right. So, okay, the models, again, that we're playing around with here are all about the sky being this huge clock, if you will, above us that was put in place, if you will, for reasons. That's what the moon is. That's why months work like they do. That's why the female system is tied to that clock, if you will. So, taking all of that cosmic clock that's above us and trying to break it up into these there's so much stuff I need to show you guys on video. That's what I was trying to explain about the cosmic egg idea, with the different bodies being the suns of these distant lands, and how that can work with the sun being different and not actually what we understand. And I've already lost your question. What was your question, Mike? I got spun out on that one. What were
basically,
you trying to
trying to. How do you explain with your model how the stars rotate?
Okay, the stars.
At the North Pole. Absolutely. And at the South Pole.
So, again, if you take all of this model that people have, what's his name, Dr. Zach, put all of this stuff into a computer model that you're talking about, trying to figure it out. And when you have the, first of all, it would be like sitting at the equator trying to film both of these things, you know what I'm saying, in like real time is practically impossible. So you're looking one direction or you're looking the other. I've only seen one alleged video from the alleged equator showing both spinning, and that's just not possible in the size world Earth that they tell us. It can't be resolved in any of the shit we've seen. So that being said, Dr. Zach took all of this information and tried to replicate with the best atmospheric simulator that was out at the time he made this video, which is probably, I guess, about 2 years ago now. Dr. Z put this video out. But when you do the star trails, what you're talking about, in a model that has no atmosphere in it, it does only one spin at the North Pole Polaris star. When you start putting the firmament dome into the picture, when you start layering in those atmospheric things, and I don't remember if it was AutoCAD, if it was one of the real high-end 3D replicators. It's not just like GIMP or something on your computer for free. It's a high-end thing. When he put all this together and threw the atmosphere on it, all of a sudden weird shit started happening. All these things that we keep asking, how can there be southern star trails? Well, there they were. Don't know why. Some kind of mirroring effect, possibly, that's going on up there. Some kind of firmament. Let's see, what's the word? Like not vortex, damn it, a magnet that has the field. Torus field. Okay, so a torus field. Think about a torus field. Right. Think about that. So if you're looking at the North Pole area and looking at the North Star and seeing that ahead of you, so what's going on behind you, quote unquote, to the south of you is basically a reflection in the firmament. And this is just me talking off the top of my head. What you need to see is what we're working on, this very thing with Cammie and some of the stuff she's come up with the sky and the stars and the moon and how all this crap can work. I mean, she's doing stuff at this point that's making our team, which we've been at this a minute, and she's got us all scratching our heads and having to take a minute and do some research and go, wait, okay, I'm seeing that. Like, for instance, do you know the little miroscope toy you could used to get it at the science store at the mall? It was the little, imagine a little shallow bowl that's got a mirror surface on the inside that has a lid that's of the exact same dimensions of mirrored surface on the inside. When you put it together, it's like a little tiny UFO, but on the top there's a little hole. So now you take a little toy frog, and you set it down inside that hole at the bottom of the mirror section. Now suddenly there is a hologram. Right, there's a hologram floating in the air above that hole. Well, not just is that thing being propagated with light waves, you can take a flashlight, shine it on that hologram that's not even in reality in front of you, and it reflects off the hologram as if you're shining it down into the hole on that toy. Well, Cammie took this, put an ice cube down inside the miroscope, and took some temperature readings above the hole, way farther away than would be logical for any kind of radiation of the cold down inside the bowl, and is getting a serious temperature drop. So this thing is propagating every possible wave, not just light waves, cold. So if you start talking about things, again, being waves and
particles at the same time.
I'm sorry?
They're waves and particles at the same time.
There you go. I was trying to get to the split experiment too, and I just got again derailed, and I'm trying to read chat and everything else here. So
until you're trying to put your awareness on it, it's like the Schrodinger's cat kind of thing, where
exactly
they found out that everything's a particle and a wave until you put your awareness on it and decide what it's going to be, or what it's going to be shaped like, or whatever. So we are creating it as we go along.
Now, we definitely that's exactly what I keep coming back to, that this thing is our consciousness interacting with some kind of matrix world that we are creating by the second, truly.
It's the photon waves and particles that make up everything.
And the things we all agree upon are solid and firm, and here's a table. We agree.
And
there's
the minute
a chair. We agree. But as soon as it becomes esoteric, weird shit, that's when we start getting Bigfoots and weird shit that nobody understands. And I saw it. You didn't see it. It was right there. I didn't see it,
Your coloring book, your crayons, I'm going to color it the way I want, and you color it the way you want. And, if the energies are powerful enough, basically you've got enough thought process or focus, because where you focus, that's where your energy goes.
Absolutely. And where your frequency too, where you're at with your personal journey, your personal frequency.
You worry about, when you worry about things and you come up with all these little pictures of how it's going to be, like what if, and they get really scary, and then pretty soon, exactly what you honed in on, were worried the most about, that's what happened. And it wasn't because all the signs were there; it's because you made it happen by choices and decisions, with that stuff rolling in the back of your head. So worry is really like a specialty emotion. You only use that to warn you, or to think about it and then put it in your back pocket, but don't dwell on it. Like you've got to do something. then put it away.
I agree.
And we go at it.
Yeah.
We like our story.
I actually have to ask a question. This is Mr. Joey Poop, and I'd like to ask
Joey Poop.
Yeah. How come that you can get photographs of the ISS from amateur photographers, and why wouldn't you not believe in the ISS?
Well, 3 or 4 reasons can come to mind. I've seen way too many bad faked videos from the ISS, and I don't really have to point those out to you. You probably have been shown them. They're out there. Google bubbles in space. Explain that to me. How are all these guys outside working on the ISS, and suddenly a little bubble pops up out of what they're working on, rolls across their helmet up into above camera? Looks like they're in water to me. And then let's talk about that ISS. I used to work on video games. I used to repair them back in the good old days when there was actually arcades. Every wire had to be harnessed, wrapped, secured, tied down, locked in place. I couldn't have anything hanging, dangling, any of that, or my stuff got shut down. It wouldn't get the licensing. I couldn't put the arcade games out on the floor if they were like that. But this multi-gazillion dollar thing that is the ultimate human achievement of technology is an OSHA nightmare. There's wires hanging, tubes outside, inside, flapping, flinging, waving in the breeze. Makes no sense. That's just logic there for me. Now, how can it be floating above us in the sky that I can track it on this app that shows me it's coming by, and I look up with my telescope and boom, there it is.
Okay.
There's some very advanced technology that we don't have a clue about out there. I've seen a picture of the U-2 plane that flying overhead looks pretty much like a U-2. Like the ISS. I've seen drones that can fly over and duplicate the ISS. There are many, many explanations for things like satellites, Hubble pictures. There's a thing called Sophia. It's this NASA plane that has a huge telescope out the side, and the pictures that come from it resemble a whole lot like what we're told come from the Hubble. It's called Sophia, SOFIA. Go check it out. I've got different videos out on my channel and IRAM, different channels of them watching satellites from places like Antarctica and the North Pole, and they're hanging on balloons. That's what they are. They're hanging on balloons. Well, how can a balloon ever be able to stay in place for it to be accurate for like geopositioning, global positioning, all that? Well, during the hurricane aftermath in Puerto Rico, when all of their infrastructure was down, they had no internet, no electricity, nothing. This company devised a way to put balloons in place that stayed in place over the island of Puerto Rico during their build back to provide them internet and phone connections and all that. Well, if they can do that over this little island for months on end to keep these balloons in place, I'm pretty sure they're way ahead of it in the ability to keep satellites in place or whatever.
Well, it's pretty simple. All they would have to do is tether the balloons somewhere on the earth.
Yeah. Somewhere. We used to have some actually off the coast here in Louisiana that were for like drug smugglers or whatever watching the coastline that were huge blimps tethered off that were miles and miles up there that I'm sure had quite a view.
Okay,
anyway, there's too much fakery associated with any of the space agents.
Okay, I'm going to have to agree with you. And how can you trust an agency that is giving all kinds of bullshit, so we really can't trust them? And I agree with that. But what about, like, Aristarchus, who...
Aristosthenes? Oh, wait, Aristarchus. Okay,
Aristosthenes, the guy who figured out the circumference of the Earth a couple thousand years ago.
Okay, well, here's my question.
But by, when the sun shines down through the well, and he noticed in this city, and he's in another city, and he notices at the same time of day that the sun does not shine down the well.
Well, what we were told is that he's in one city waiting for this well to line up while his associate is in the other city 500 miles away, I believe it was, waiting for this timing to occur so that they could coordinate and match up their shadows. Okay, this is How many thousands of years ago?
It's 2,000 approximately.
How were they communicating across 500 miles?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
That was my first question.
What'd they do?
My first question.
Yeah.
And then, how do we know that well was plumbed straight?
Well, I don't think they needed to communicate directly. They knew they were going to do it at the certain time, at the certain. One of them would have to travel back to the other ones so that they could review the results.
I'm sure that that's all possible, but the question really remains is, how was that all set up? Do you know the equations he used? We've studied them.
Not exactly, but I know how it works.
But I do. That's what I'm saying. We do. It's spherical trigonometry.
Well, basically, he figured out the angle difference and the distance.
But he has to start.
So by using that, the circumference of the Earth can be figured out.
But that's what I'm trying to explain. To start his whole process, he has to assume a sphere. That's what spherical trigonometry is. So you're starting with the assumption of a sphere to prove that it's a sphere. And that's not how proof works. That's just not how it works. You can't start with an assumption to prove your point. That's what a whole lot of science is based on. If you take that...
Damn!
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hold on to that thought, because we're at the top of the hour. And we're going to come back with your questions. We're going to open up the lines when we come back, buddy. All right, if that's okay. Monster Castle Paranormal Digital Radio.